You ever notice how just one news story or, one viral video can totally shift your perception of reality? All of a sudden, something you barely thought about seems like it's happening, well, everywhere. So let's get into this, because there's a really fascinating reason why our brains work that way.
It really all boils down to this one question. Why is it that a single, really dramatic event can feel more real, more important, than piles of data telling us the exact opposite? It's almost like a glitch in our mental software, and today we're going to figure out exactly how it works. So the answer is actually a pretty powerful psychological principle. It's a kind of mental shortcut that our brain uses all the time to make quick judgments. But as you'll see, it often steers us wrong.
And here it is. It's called the availability heuristic. Basically, it's a shortcut where your brain decides how likely something is based purely on how fast it can think of an example. So if you can picture it in your head instantly, your brain just assumes, yep, that must be common, that must be important. The simple truth is what's easy to recall feels true.
Okay, so what exactly is powering this recall illusion? It's not random at all. There are actually a few specific triggers that make certain memories way more sticky and way more available than others. Let's break them down.
All right, think of these as the 4 big drivers of the illusion. First up, you've got recency. An article you read this morning is going to feel way more important than when you read last month. Then there's emotional intensity. A really shocking, vivid story sticks with you, right? It's like mental glue. Add to that repetition. You see the same type of story over and over again in your feed, and pretty soon, your brain starts to believe it's happening constantly. And finally, all of this together creates a massive memory bias, where the most dramatic, easy-to-remember examples start to feel like the norm.
And look, this isn't just some abstract idea from a psychology textbook. It actively shapes our real-world decisions every single day. Let's take a look at how this actually plays out in a few key areas of our lives.
Okay, let's talk investing. When all you hear on the news are stories about market crashes or huge corporate failures, those vivid examples become super easy to recall. This can make us seriously overestimate how risky investing is, maybe causing us to avoid perfectly good opportunities because the fear of that memorable failure is just louder than all the data about long-term growth.
And this is the perfect example when it comes to our sense of safety. We've all seen the dramatic, heart-stopping coverage of a plane crash. It's terrifying, it's vivid, and it's incredibly easy to picture. But the statistical reality, you are way, way more likely to get hurt in a car. But car accidents are so common, they're almost mundane. They don't get that same level of sensational coverage. So our fear ends up following what's memorable, not what's actually probable. Which brings us right to the media we consume every day, because it's a huge engine for this heuristic, right? Sensational, negative headlines are designed to be memorable, and that constant flood of bad news makes those examples incredibly easy to bring to mind. This can lead us to believe the world is in a much worse state than it actually is, even when long-term data might show amazing progress. It's one of the biggest challenges we face with our modern information diet. So, what's the big deal? What's the real cost of letting this little mental shortcut run the show? Well, the consequences can be pretty significant. It can lead to a really distorted view of reality, and frankly, some pretty bad decisions. So here's what it cost us. When we lean on what's easy to remember, our whole sense of risk gets warped. We start making choices based on fear or emotion instead of logic. We totally overreact to rare but vivid events, which then leads to poor long-term judgment, which leads to missed opportunities, and yeah, you guessed it, outcomes that are just not good for us. But here's the good news. We are not just stuck with this faulty programming. The moment you can name something, you can start to deal with it. And there's actually a really clear way to start taking back control of your own perceptions.
Honestly, the most powerful thing you can do is just pause. Pause and question that immediate gut reaction. It's all about shifting from that fast, automatic judgment to a more slow, deliberate, and thoughtful one.
And this right here is your toolkit. It's a simple 3-question self-audit. First, just ask yourself, am I feeling this way because of data or just because I saw something about it recently? Second, is this thing actually common or is it just really memorable? And finally, and this might be the most important one, what information am I not seeing right now? What's missing from this picture? That last one pushes you to find those other perspectives. And that brings us to the single most important takeaway from all of this. This one sentence is your best defense. The next time a shocking headline or a wild story makes you feel absolutely certain about how things are,
Just pause. And remember, your brain is a recall machine, not a reality machine. What's easy to remember isn't always what's true.